In these perilous times, see from current events how biblical prophecy is coming to pass in front of our eyes. You're watching In the Last Days, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. With Martin and Nathalie Blackham, thank you to our friends and partners who make this program possible. Now, here's Martin and Nathalie.
Hi, welcome to the In the Last Days television program with myself, Martin Blackham, and with my wife, Nathalie Blackham. Great to have you with us. The In the Last Days television program looks at the news. We look at features from Israel, and we are especially saying hello to all of our friends across the United Kingdom and into Europe who are watching the program. Great to have you with us. We've got viewers' emails. This is a special ITLD update where we're telling you a little bit about what we do, about some of the guests who are coming in, bringing you news from Israel, and what's happening here in the land. And Nathalie's got some news about a new scheme for Christians visiting Israel, and also some Hebrew as well. We'll start off with viewers' emails. Nathalie, it's always good to hear your comments. Don't forget you can email us at info@inthelastdays.com. And this is from Leonard, who is from the United States. We do have viewers in the United States. Great to have you with us if you're watching in the United States. Don't forget, there's also, the Roku box has the Revelation television channel. It says, outstanding interview with Rabbi Yehuda Glick. Keep up the good work. This is Leonard from the United States. Dorothy, who is a good friend of ours and supporter of the work. We'll be telling you a little bit about how you can support the work today as well. She says, you produce very interesting and enjoyable programs. That's Dorothy from Cyprus. And this is an email from Jeffrey from the United Kingdom. Greetings from the United Kingdom. Thank you for a very interesting TV program on Israel. It gives a different perspective and adds greatly to other information. I'm watching the program on Revelation TV, and it's thanks to the support of Howard and Leslie that we're able to broadcast to you today. So thank you, Howard and Leslie. Your programs are so informative. Thank you so much. This is Janice from the north of England. She says that she really enjoys the program, and Jan's another supporter of the program as well. So thank you so much, Jan, and indeed thank you all for your emails. Don't forget you can email us at info@inthelastdays.com, and it's because of your support for this program, because of standing with us, that we're able to make In the Last Days television program and bring you news. And we're the only people from the United Kingdom doing this, the only British flying the flag for British Christian television, Nathalie.
Living in the land.
So it's a great privilege to be able to do this, but we do need your support. And if you'd like to, we need more. I was going to say volunteers, not volunteers, supporters. We need more people who are going to regularly stand with us. And you can contact us and we can send you a direct debit form in the post. We can also send that to you by email. You can also support us by check, postal orders, and and the details are on your screen as to how you can do that. So it's an important way of standing with us and helping us to fight the battle. Now, you've got some news, Nathalie, on Christians being able to visit Israel.
Yes, I have some very interesting news. This is a new scheme that is happening now. Israel welcomes Christian version of Birthright. And you know, Birthright is like, they are bringing some young people, Jewish people, mainly from America, but also from South America, because I know I've some students also who are helping in Magen David Adom. They are volunteers for a while, but some people are helping this organization, and this is the Museum of the Bible and also the Philos Project. So they are helping students. This is American right now, so it's like for leaders of students from colleges and universities in America, and they just pay $500, and they are sponsors to come, and they come for 11 days. And this is what the ambassador, Ron Dermer, is saying. If they walk in the place where the patriarchs and the prophets and the kings and that young rabbi from the Galilee walk, then they will stand with Israel here, and they will strengthen their Christian identity. And it's so important because we need to see now the next generation standing with Israel, and they say it's good to stand with Israel, but you have also to stand in Israel. So this was very interesting. It was done during the, the embassy. Every year in Washington, they do something special for Christians standing with Israel. And so it was launched at that time. And so it's very interesting. There is things happening while launched here. We were at root source, like Jewish people who are helping Christians. And now there is also things all around the world really who's helping. We speak about that, but there is also other things happening in the UK. And I'm sure that many of you have heard. It's called the Shalom Declaration. And it's Steve Jaffe. And you can see on Facebook, you can go on your Facebook if you are a Facebook fan. But he's going around churches in the UK who are standing with Israel. And he's a Jewish man who is not afraid. So you can see there is really a net who is really growing between Jews and Christians. We have that in our heart. Like for many years, you know that we started really like 18 years ago to discover our Jewish roots. And we came here in 2009. And since we came, we can see a flourishing, and there is fear on both sides. And we're like, no, just leave the fears away, and we can see things happening. So this is very interesting. And when you see that, it's like this morning I was on my Facebook, and I was speaking with somebody in Canada, and I was speaking about my book, this one, The Beauty of the Hebrew Language, because this part, again, is a link between the Jews and the Christian. The most common thing that we have together is the Word of God. So discovering the Word in Hebrew is something very important.
And if they want to get the book, The Beauty of the Hebrew Language...
Yeah, you can just go on our website and you will see it's there, and you can, all around the world, you can find it. We send it with PayPal. So it's not difficult. You send us an email, and we will just send it to you. And it's also in bookshops in Jerusalem, few bookshops also in England. But the easiest for the people all around the world now is doing it with PayPal.
And there's a Dutch version as well, I understand.
Yes, there is. And we are working on the German version and on the Italian one. So this is very exciting. And, this is... The Hebrew language, I was speaking with this man, and he's in the 60s, and he said, it's difficult, but I know that it's important. And say, yes, persevere, because what you learn is really important. And when you know the treasure of the Hebrew language, the thing is, after we need to bring it to the next generation. And this is very important. So here we go.
You know that talking about birthright and the birthright is the Jewish people coming to visit the land of Israel, and now this new Christian version is very interesting because there's a lot of people do tours of Israel, and we recently had the privilege of speaking to the people on the Revelation television tour. So we say hi to you if you're on the Revelation TV tour. It was great to meet all of you, and we hope to see other tours as they come to the land. Now, one of the things that we do from in the Last Days television program is we bring you news from Israel, and so we'll get straight into the news, Nathalie. This is from Israel National News. It says Southern Israeli Army Commander leader Sami Turgman says the struggle against Hamas is not a military one, which is quite interesting. He says anyone who thinks the fighting between Israel and Hamas is only due to military force against each other does not have the facts right. And he also says that Hamas is getting strong. We need to understand every few years there will be a round of fighting. The head of the regional council in the south of Israel, Shea Hadjay, commented clearly the terrorists are engaged in terrorism today during the ceasefire. So even though, Nathalie, there's a ceasefire, there isn't a war going on in Israel at the moment as we're bringing you this ITL update. The terrorists are preparing for the next war, and this is the next news story. This is from the Times of Israel. It says Israeli army to follow up on claims of Gaza tunnel under kibbutz. Amid reports that Hamas has been rebuilding its subterranean infrastructure, the Israeli army will investigate a possible attack tunnel running below a Gaza border town, following up on ongoing complaints by residents of kibbutz Nirim that they have been hearing underground construction noises. In other words, the people there have...
I've been in this kibbutz, and you can see Gaza from the fields with all around the kibbutz. So.
And they've been hearing, the residents have been hearing underground noises, so they reported this, and they instructed a private contractor to come to Kibbutz Nerim to investigate. And because of the findings of the private contractor, they've actually instructed the army, and the IDF are following that up. So, you know, the Hamas were digging tunnels, and maybe, I don't know if I've got it today, but there's some information about the Israeli army have now got a device to track tunnels, or they're just testing it out. So again, very interesting. Now, one of the things that people are not hearing on the main media is what's actually happening in Israel on a day-to-day basis. Now, the Israel National News has reported that the Israeli army is to put an armed IDF soldier on every Judea and Samaria bus. It's the IDF Central Command head, Ronnie Newmer, wants Israeli army presence on buses after complaints of harassment by Jews from Arabs. Local authority heads in Judea and Samaria met with the IDF Central Commander, and they've discussed the issue of Arabs coming onto, Palestinians coming onto buses, and there's no protection for the Jewish community. And you say, well, why is that so important? You know, Nathalie, the viewers might say, well, is that so important? Well, this is the news from Jerusalem Post. It says an Arab terrorist stabs a 19-year-old Israeli. A terrorist attack occurred and at a bus stop, actually, in Mishor Adumim, a neighborhood located near the town of Ma'ale Adumim, which is going from Jerusalem towards the Dead Sea. Many of you who visited the land of Israel, have come on a tour here, will have passed that area when you've taken the tour coach from Jerusalem to the Dead Sea. They treated the victim on site. He'd been stabbed on the left side of his upper back. Magen David Adom, the Israeli ambulance and emergency service, paramedics treated him, and he was rushed to the nearby Sher Sadek Medical Center. So even though and this is not really reported in the mainstream media, what's going on here. This is another story from the Jerusalem Post. It says a Palestinian terrorist was apprehended as he attempted to stab Jews. A terrorist was apprehended at the Givat Hamvitar light railway station in northeastern Jerusalem, near the French Hill neighborhood. Light railway security personnel were on the scene and spotted the terrorist as he attempted to attack. There was also a terrorist attack at the Hawara checkpoint. It's an Arabic name, but I think that's roughly it. Near Shechem in Samaria, when an Arab terrorist threw a firebomb at an Israeli car. The man sustained minor injuries from smoke inhalation and burns, but it could have been much more. He could have been killed,
and
because
his car was gone.
The car was destroyed. Yes, so these things are all happening, but they're not being reported by the mainstream media. And again, this is from Ynet News. It says 4 Israeli police officers wounded in Jerusalem terrorist attack. Again, this is fairly recently. It says a car was driven, and this is one of the things that the terrorists do. They use the car to carry out terrorist attacks. And it says a car was driven at the police officers at Tur neighborhood of East Jerusalem, where Palestinian riots had occurred earlier. 4 police officers were wounded in the attack and were taken by ambulance personnel to hospital. Again, you know, this is not these stories are not being picked up in the mainstream media.
It is not, but this is interesting because, I mean, this is the bad side of all the things, but I was reading also an article, and they were saying that some Arabic people who live in Israel or in the territories appreciate to speak Hebrew, which is, again, very interesting. And I can start to pick up some stories of some Muslim who start to want to stand for Israel because they see that this is where the Muslim leaders try to bring them is like war. They can't study, they can't live a normal life, and they start to have their eyes open. And so this is very important for you to know. You might not hear about that, but we start to see one here, one there. I know it's not very much, but you know, like us as Christian, the Jewish roots weren't very important for us like 20 or 30 years ago. And one here, one there, we have changed. And I can start to see tiny, tiny change. We know, you might know so about Muhammad Zoabi. He's a young man, he's maybe 17 years old now, and he was a Muslim, he was against Israel before, but he's done a lot of thinking, and he said, no, I'm pro-Zionist, I love my country, and by the way, he's going to be a soldier too in the country here. So there is some bad things, but we know, and again, we need to see far away, we need to stand with Israel. As Christians, we need to learn also the Hebrew language. I was saying today, again on my Facebook, I was saying, you know, Hebrew language is one of our tools against anti-Semitism. Because when you start to understand the beauty of this language, which is a gift from God, is like suddenly you start to see more with His mind, and suddenly it makes you thinking in a different way. I'm not the one that I was, you know, many years ago, and I can't go back to what I was before. It's like, no way. I've discovered so many things with the Hebrew language, with the Jewish people here in the land, and you know, we do this program also for that you feel that you are not just in the UK or around the world, but it's like there is a bridge and you can know what's happening here in Israel.
And connecting with Israel.
Yeah.
It's the programs are done so that you can connect with Israel, so that you can be a part of what's happening here. And you know, it's important for. We realised a long time ago that there was nobody from the United Kingdom doing a program like this, that there was no British people in Israel doing a program for British Christian television. And so this is, you know, it's an important way for us to be able to connect with you. I know there are other people now watching in other nations as well, but we're particularly fond of our United Kingdom audience because that's who we've been sent out by, really, and
you have a British accent.
That's right. So that, I mean, it does help. You know, it does make a difference. Now, I know, Nathalie, you've got some Hebrew to talk about.
Yeah,
now, this is from Ynet News. It says. Israel tests anti-missile defense system. Israeli Defense Ministry confirms launch conducted from military base in central Israel. System meant to be used in response to the threat of ballistic missiles. Now, we've talked about this, but maybe it's something you're not aware of at home, is that one of the major threats to Israel is a missile war. Much more, in fact, than a conventional military war with two armies facing each other. The threat of missiles, because these missiles, they're able to fire them from longer distances, as we saw in the last operation, in Operation Protective Edge, when we were here, the missiles were fired not far from where we're filming today in the studio near Jerusalem, and there were missiles being fired here. Now, the next war will be the prediction is that it will be a war of missiles.
I know, but why? How do we know that too? Because in the Torah, in the Bible, Ezekiel speak about that. Ezekiel 38. If you see, and you know, when things are repeated few times, it's like, okay, watch out, listen to it carefully. And if you read in Ezekiel 37, now I encourage you to do that. You can see that it's written. Like, I can't remember the exact words now, but it's like in the clouds, and it's like we know that it will be missile, and it's written 3 times, and is obvious. So the army is preparing for this kind of.
And so
war.
we have the system, the Iron Dome system, which is an anti-missile defense system, which fires a missile up to destroy other missiles which are being fired at Israel, and we saw that in action right here in Haradal during the Operation Protective Edge.
And saving many lives, because
And obviously, if they intercept the missile, it does mean that these things don't get through. And what you might not know is that the missiles, not most of them that were fired during Protective Edge weren't accurate. So they are fired willy-nilly, that they don't have a particular target. They are just fired at Israel. So it's a bit like Britain facing Germany with the rockets that were fired at the end of the Second World War into England. These rockets were not aimed at anything in particular other than civilians, and it's the same. Israel's been fired at by terrorists who are aiming their rockets at anything, just making. And a lot of them fell. The other side fell in Gaza. They fell on their own people. Now, we've got some exciting guests coming up, Nathalie, to visit the studio. And David Rubin's coming in again. I know a lot of you have enjoyed the programs we've done with him. David Rubin was the former mayor of Shiloh in the north of us, in Samaria. And David does a lot of speaking. He's an author. He's done tours of the United States. He's just coming back from the United States to the studio. We've got the privilege of having him. And he's going to be talking about his new book, Nathalie, Sparks from Zion. We've got a new guest, somebody who hasn't been on before, but you're going to really not want to miss this program. We've got Bob Odell coming in, and he is the co-founder of Root Source, along with Gidon Ariel. And I know that you enjoyed the programs. We've just shown them on Revelation TV. And don't forget, you can watch the programs on Revelation Television on a Sunday night at 10 and on a Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. You can catch the program. We've also got a brand new guest coming in, a rabbi, and is a new rabbi. We haven't had him before, and you're going to not want to miss him at all. Very interesting rabbi coming in.
And he's working also with the city of Jerusalem.
And then we've also got Linda Menuhin coming in again, who was talking about the Jewish refugees coming back from the Arab countries who were thrown out of the Muslim countries and had to return to Israel. Now, I think we've just got time, Nathalie, for some Hebrew before the end of the program.
Hebrew bites? Okay. So today I wanted to speak to you about one of the letters. You know, there is 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. And I will show you again. And, whoops, let I take the right one. This is all the letters, and we're going to speak about this one, which is Lamed. So when we put all the letters together, this is the tallest letter, Lamed, which is like a le for us. And I give you, you can see, this is a bit bigger. This is Lamed. And it comes from the verb lamad, which means teaching and learning. So it's very interesting because if you look, it's the tallest letter. And so God always every letter is done in a very specific way, and is to show that learning and teaching is very important. And what I love, the concept of the Jewish people, you can always, because God is infinite, you can always know more of Him and come closer to Him and come closer to His people. So I love that. So we've done learning, teaching, Lamed. Interesting enough, is also the number 30, because every letter in Hebrew has a number. And 30 is when this rabbi from Galilee, Yeshua, he started his ministry when he was 30. So there is a time where you mature, there is a time where you learn, and after there is a time for you to teach. So this is very interesting that, you know, there is 30 represent also a certain period in your life. And like a rabbi, somebody can't be a rabbi before he's 30 because you have to have a certain maturity and time to learn. So 30 is very important. And it's also lechem. And lechem is to eat. It's like bread. And again, it's very important. We have also to eat the word of God. And there is another one, if I find it, which is beautiful, that's it, is lev, heart. And again, in our body, the heart is the more important thing. if you don't, your heart is stopped beating, you can't. But it's like it's automatic. Thank you, Lord. But we have to say to Him, thank you that we can. You are so amazing, and you keep us going. And I think sometimes we need to make this habit to thank the Lord for little things, which is big things. If I'm not this morning when I get up, which is interesting because the Jewish people do that. It's like when they get up, they say, "Thank you, Lord, that you give me back my soul," and it's like. When you sleep, it's like kind of dead, and suddenly you wake up and you're alive again. And it's something so important. Sometimes we say, I wake up this morning, I have to go to work. No, you're alive. This is just wonderful. And I think it's very important that we learn all these things and we have like a grateful heart. And like learning Hebrew, he gives you so much understanding also of God. And one of the things that we're saying also, Lamed is learning. And when we die, again, we're speaking about death, when we die, you can't bring any of your possession, you can't bring your house, you can't bring nothing. You bring just yourself, your character. And it's very important that we build our character too. We can see His loving kindness is like who He is. And He's asking us to be like Him because we are made in His image. And I've been a nurse when I was younger in France and have done a lot of work with the geriatric people. And I could see that, your life is made of every day, of how you've been. So we need to learn day by day to give to others, to give to Him, to carry on learning. And here we go.
We're out of time again, Nathalie. It's always, how it is. We have a certain amount of time, and it's been great to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for supporting the work. It's not possible to do what we're doing without your support, and don't forget to have a think, and if you'd like to be a financial supporter, then do contact us. We need regular people who are going to join with this work to help us to grow the work. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at info@inthelastdays.com. And remember, we're living in the last days.
You've been watching In the Last Days, a TV program with Martin and Nathalie Blackham, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. If you would like to financially support the program or find out about conferences, meetings, or ministry products, then please contact us with the details on your screen. Visit our easy-to-use website at www.inthelastdays.com and register for our free e-newsletter. Get the latest news from Israel, product information, online video teaching, or watch today's TV program at a time that's convenient to you. Thank you again, friends and partners, for making this program possible.
See you same time, same station for the next program from In the Last Days.